Hi, I'm Ray McAllister, editor of Boomer Magazine. We're here today again with Harvey Newquist, Executive Director of the National Guitar Museum. Welcome.
Thank you.
Your exhibit, Guitar, the Instrument That Rocked the World, is at the Science Museum of Virginia right now.
Correct.
We've been discussing the various guitars, how electric guitars came about, and you said they originated in the 30s with the desire for guitarists to be heard over the singers and other instruments in the band. What do we have here?
Well, here we have essentially what's the first mass-produced wooden guitar designed to be played Spanish style, which is held against the chest. What we talked about earlier was a lap steel guitar, which is held in the lap and held face up, back down. But after Hawaiian music sort of gave up the ghost in the post-World War II years, country bands and folk bands became more popular. And the guitarists in those bands had the same problem that the Hawaiian players had, which was they couldn't hear themselves. But now...
A lot of ego going on there.
Well, there's a lot, if you can't hear yourself play at all, then you might as well sit down and not play.
Sure, good point.
So those guys ran into the same problem that the Hawaiian players had, but they couldn't use the old lap steel guitars because they were meant to be played like this. So a lot of the country bands were in Southern California in the mid-'40s, and TV repairman.
Country and Western bands.
Country Western, yeah.
Right.
So Bakersfield, California, and all that. Buck Owens and all the people that ended up on Hee Haw years later.
Right.
Went to a repairman named Leo Fender, who basically had an electronics repair shop. And he would repair their microphones and some of their amplification equipment. But at the same time, the guitarists would bring in their acoustic guitars and go, I can't hear myself. And Leo said, well, maybe I can create a guitar that they can use to hear themselves, taking a little bit of inspiration from the lap steel and using a pickup in there, but using wood, which was easier to work with and could be done in his shop. He ended up creating essentially this in 1949. The guitar that's come to be known as the Telecaster. It's been known as the Esquire and the Broadcaster. But he built it, or he created it such that it could be very quickly put together. All these pieces snap off. They can be hand assembled in any small factory at the time in California. And the country and Western players loved it. And now they could be heard way above everybody else. So they actually became the dominant instrument. And being in Southern California, shortly after this arrived on the scene in 1949, surf music became popular. And this instrument and other Fender instruments became sort of the defining sound of the new generation of music, which led us to rock and roll. But the interesting thing about all of this is that Leo Fender never learned how to play the guitar and never learned how to tune it.
Really?
And today the name Fender is pretty much synonymous with electric guitars. So you had the guy who introduced the boomers to electric music via the guitar who could never play one himself.
Fascinating. We'll come back and we'll get you to play, and we'll talk a little bit more about the guitar. And make sure you check on our YouTube channel for that and all the other videos with Harvey. Thank you.
Thank you.